Body isn't malfunctioning, it's just overstimulated. Hi, welcome back to It's Healthy Heath, and today we are continuing our series on learning to slow down as a modern mom. I am learning this as we go. This is a struggle in my life that has been continual, that this year we're figuring out, we're fixing it. Because I'm always the girl on the go. As the overachiever, I can do anything, I can always power through, skip meals. I want to see the world. I have all these dreams, all these things I need to see fulfilled. And so this is my personality. I was built for the system of get good grades and get a good job. And then I had a baby. And I had a baby that was high needs, of emotional needs, high contact. She wanted to be held for literally every single nap time. As a person who is not a touch person, that was difficult. And so I'm still trying to live in this, what people call the maiden lifestyle of do everything, live it up, enjoy your time, to now I'm a mother and I can't get over to that bridge. And I thought something was wrong with me. And I was realizing that I was overstimulated every single day. So I was having these breakdowns and all these things. If she didn't do her nap time and she just decided she was going to nap, it would literally just break me. And I got to this point where I was like, why is this breaking me? Like, why is this so hard for me? And it came to the point of, one, I was trying to live in this maiden mentality, which our culture really celebrates. They don't like to celebrate the mother as much. Me in this state of overstimulation because I was trying to do it all. And I kept trying to speech myself, if you could just get it together, if you could just get your house clean, if all these things done, then you would move on to the next thing. And that it wasn't true. If I could just have my house clean, all my laundry done, and the baby could sleep, then I wouldn't be a mess. Then I would have my stuff together. But really, I was starting my day so overstimulated, I've lost my mind because something happened. And then I couldn't realize that it was overstimulation. And chances are you might be as well, because we live in a noise. We live in an age of constant noise. So if you feel like you're constantly on edge, you're easily overwhelmed, you're always exhausted, like you can't ever sleep, you can't ever get rest, or you're unable to rest, like you sit down, your mind's racing, your body physically can't come to rest even when you've sat down, even when you've gone to bed. If you're irritable for no clear reason, you're anxious even when life feels like fine, anxiety's still present. So I think you might have probably asked yourself, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Why am I always like this? I used to not be like this, or maybe I was and I didn't realize it. But as a mom, these feelings I feel like are elevated. Of you before could have time to yourself and calm yourself down and figure out how to regulate yourself. But now it's like your baby's crying. They need you to regulate them because they get regulation from their mother, and you can't regulate yourself because you're in this constant state of overstimulation. And that's where I was. We've worked out of it. I can't say I'm 100% great all the time, but it's way better than before. Because I think what people don't realize is the amount of input your nervous system is feeling. There's been no time in human history that it's been like this. I think back to my grandma. I'm like, how did she do everything? She was a single mom with 3 kids who worked a full-time job, made all of her meals at a clean house. And I was like, oh wow, she had her life. She didn't know all the headlines around the world. She didn't know what was happening to everyone down the street and the random people. Like the other day I got on social media and I was literally just posting for a client that I work for. And I got on their social media to post, and the first video that comes up grabs my attention. I watch it, and it's about this lady who went through this abusive marriage and this abusive relationship, and she almost didn't make it, and she lived and all these things. And now here I am, 10 a.m. at a coffee shop thinking about this lady's life. That's nothing wrong. Like, I'm glad she posted that. Like, that was so important, and I think it's really powerful. But I was having a great day until that happened. And that's not saying that we need to look away from the needs of others. I think there's just a time and place for it. And in this age of constant overstimulation, especially as a mom, you really have to protect your space. Not in a, like, we're not going to talk to you because you have issues, but in a time thing. Because before social media, it was like, oh, I would either run into someone at a store somewhere, or I would talk to a friend, or I would go somewhere where I knew there was great need. And it was like, those were the kind of moments. It wasn't seeing need on my feed 24/7. That was constantly, as a person with a heart of justice, it was constantly throwing me off because I'm like, oh, I just want there to be justice. I want there to be like mercy. I want there to have a solution. I want to help them fix this. And you can't. When I watch movies, I literally can't watch like scary movies because it overstimulates me, because I'm sitting there praying for the people the whole time. And then I realize they're not real. It's not a real story. And if it's a real story, it really throws me off. So anyways, we are living in an age of constant notifications. We're being interrupted all day long. We can't have deep focus. There's decision making all day long that we didn't always have before. There was background stress there's emotional labor, there's holding it, making sure everyone, as a mom, you're holding all these things, or there's the mental load that people talk about, and you're holding all these needs around your own as well. And so your nervous system was not designed for this. Our nervous system hasn't caught up to this age of social media and this constant on the go, always checking our phones, always having notification, always being accessible, has not aligned with our nervous systems. And so I think, honestly, we'll talk about this next week, about how that is impacting some people's health and why there's so much anxiety, depression, chronic issues, like chronic health issues. But there's no pause, there's no silence. Your body stays in this fight or flight. Like when you think back to the Stone Age, people aren't always having notifications. There's all these studies about how the information we see is more than anyone in the 1800s would have ever known in their entire lifetime. What we see in one day is more than they would have known almost their entire lives. So we are living in a state where our brains are always on the go. We're seeing things that don't actually pertain to us. And as a mom, I think there's a safety in creating a space around your home and really guarding your home of what can come in and come out. But you do that, but we used to do that before, like, oh, well, this person can't come inside my home. But now we're letting all these people into our home through social media, through screens, through TV, all these things. We're allowing this news to come into our space that affects our nervous system, affects our children's nervous systems. And then everyone's staying in this fight or flight state. And so when I was a few months into being a mom, I listened to this podcast for moms. To be honest, I don't even remember what it was. I'd have to find it. And they were talking about how, like, when you're 10 a.m. and you've already lost your mind, like you had a full mental breakdown, or you're like, it's like just pushed you over the edge, you're like, how am I going to survive? They're like, you didn't start your day at a 0. And if 10 is the mental breakdown, you probably started at like a 7 or 8. So then this one thing that didn't happen, or this one thing that went wrong, actually pushed you over the edge. And I didn't realize that. I was like, wow, my child doesn't sleep. But because she didn't sleep, going through the nights, I would wake up already at an 8. So then one thing my husband said, or one thing the baby did, or she didn't go down for a nap, had just sent me. Like, it literally just sent me, because now I'm starting my day, there's noise. Now I'm starting my day so high up that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already about to have this breakdown at 10 a.m. And you're like, what? I literally was like, what is wrong with me? I did postpartum counseling because I was like, there's literally something wrong with me. And here's what I wish I had known sooner. What I went to counseling basically for her to tell me was that you're not broken. You're literally overstimulated. Your body was made to do this. You were made to be a mother. But the world we are living in actually has to reframe. We have to reframe our world around being a mom, which is inconvenient, and it's not always easy, and it's a shift from maiden to mother. And nervous systems can actually settle into this space. So your body isn't malfunctioning, it's just overstimulated. So a nervous system that feels safe doesn't have to be forced or disciplined. It doesn't need another protocol. It rests naturally. Burnout isn't this character flaw of you weren't actually made to be a mother. That's not true. I think that is a lie. I think you as a woman were made to be a mother, and I think any woman can do it. The capacity issue, like, you only have so much emotional capacity to offer the world. So when you're not sleeping, when you're feeding a child 24/7, when you have all this noise, all these distractions, you're already up to here. So you only have about this much more to offer your job, your husband, your world, whatever it is. And that's not a capacity issue, it's just our capacity for different things changes. When our overstimulation decreases and our safety increases, we actually have more capacity to offer people because we feel more open. We feel more rested. We feel like internally at peace. And I just don't think modern moms were given the luxury of a village. Maybe if you are, that's such a gift. But what I've heard is that so many of us live so far away from our parents. We live on the other side of the country where it's not easily accessible. Like, literally, if you live within some kind of driving distance to your parents, like, you live a different life than every other mom. Because I'm like, man, if my mom was within 2 to 3 hours away, even 4 hours away, I was like, I would live a different life. It'd be awesome. But to get on have to buy a really expensive plane flight, to fly across the country, that's really tough. So you don't have that person where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so exhausted, I'm sick, I just wish I could drop the kids off at a parent's house. Literally, it's like, it takes a village to raise children, and it does. And so I think we as modern moms, that we don't have a village, we have all this pressure to do everything because we see Susie down the street who's doing it all, who has 5 kids, who has a business, who has a great marriage, who works out all the time. And something has gone. You either have help, that's my theory, or something's sliding through the cracks. You can't have it all. And I talked about this in previous videos, but I think we still like to compare ourselves, and we're like, well, if so-and-so can do it, why can't I do it? And when you're in the midst of this overstimulation, it just adds another layer, and then you think you're failing. And like, I just want to say, like, you are not failing. I felt this. Why can't I be a mom? I can be a really good worker. I'm really good at leading in business aspects, but why can't I just sit with a baby? Why can't I enjoy holding the baby? People are like, oh, you're gonna miss this. And when she started napping by herself and not contact napping, I haven't missed it one time. Haven't missed it a single time. But I know I'm gonna look back and be like, I missed this season of her as a little baby. But I was like, one, the time alone is awesome. So if you're in contact next season, I get it. It's tough, but maybe it's your favorite thing. I don't know. We all are built different. We have different personalities. But I think you can't rest into that. There is something deeper. And that's what I have found. I'm no expert here. I'm literally just, we're processing together. We're learning this together. My counselor kept asking, why can't you just rest? Why can't you just let certain things go? And I was like, because I was made in this system. I was made because I want to do all these things. So I think the shift is, we can't have more rules. If you were to tell me, please wake up before your baby to work out in the first year, no, you don't have to. You don't want to work out right now, it's fine. You had a baby, your baby doesn't sleep. If your baby's sleeping, great, work out. But I was like, I am not doing crazy workouts. I'm not waking up before my children. One, she just wakes up. I don't have, people are like, moms are like, my 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. routine. And I'm right, because your kids sleep in, or your kids sleep. If your child's not sleeping, don't even think about it. Don't even think about a protocol. You need sleep. Sleep is number one. We did not feel that we were supposed to sleep train. There's a lot of controversy on all the sides, but we felt like it was really important that she had attachment, and that was it. And so she slept with us, and we had a great situation. She slept, and then she didn't sleep sometimes. It was like back and forth. But there's a lot of seasons where we weren't 100% sleep deprived, but there's just, if I got up, she was up. I just think there is grace in this season to do what you have to do. If you can afford someone to come clean your house, don't feel bad about it. Hire the cleaner. Or if you need to order your groceries, you don't have time to go to the grocery store, order the groceries. It will save you a lot of heartache with the car screens. There's simple things we can do every day to create rhythms, and the rhythms are what's so important that actually shift our mind into this safety. And as a person who's a 7, who likes things that are different, having the same day, having these same rhythms really messed me up. I was like, will today ever be different? I feel like I'm living Groundhog Day. But we're working through that. But it's the rhythms of, this is what our breakfast routine looks like. And if it gets shaken because your baby doesn't sleep, letting it go and just be like, this is where we're at, and accepting. I think accepting is such a massive nervous system reset when we're like, this is just who we are. This is where we're at, and that's okay. And not to compare. If you compare yourself to the girl on social media, it's just like comparison literally is the thief of joy. So you can be having a great day, and then you can see Susie Cakes down the road, and she's made this whole gourmet meal, and she's run 5K today, and her kids all are amazing, and they're dressed perfectly, and your child fought to put pants on. And you're like, we have different lives, and that's fine, and that's beautiful. And I think if we all try to become the same person, that's when the world gets messed up and weird. Anyways, but I think building simple rhythms that aren't burdensome. If you're like, I just need to read my Bible for 5 minutes a day, then you let your husband take the kids for the first 5 minutes a day and you read your Bible. Just simple things that set you up for success. Or like, you need to go on a walk by yourself, figure out a way to go on the walk by yourself. Or give your kids the snack of their dreams and you just push that stroller in silence. My child hated strollers. She hated anything that she wasn't on me. So we've had to find ways to fix that, because being touched all the time was an overstimulation for me. But build tiny pockets into your day. And if that's sitting on your toilet, hiding for a few minutes to calm yourself, you gotta do what you gotta do. There's no judgment here. But doing these things, we're not trying to be productive. Our values have to shift when we become a mother, or if we want to calm our nervous system down. When we want to calm our nervous system down, we have to shift what's important into that season of life. And this has been one of the hardest things for me to figure out, and I'm still figuring it out. We're still on this journey together of how do I value this season of life over what I can get done, over efficiency, over productivity, and not finding my value in those things. And if that's a struggle for you, you can go back to last week and watch about the lies that we place on why we can't rest. But when we start allowing our body to rest, it gives our body this safety signal that you can slow down, that you can come back into peace in your body, that we can create. And if you love Jesus, you can create peace in your body. Like, God gave you the Holy Spirit to live inside you that brings peace. And so there's a world of peace that we can access with the Holy Spirit that you can't if you don't know God. And that peace can sustain us in any circumstance. And I have fought to find that. When I couldn't get to that, I went to counseling, because I was like, something's wrong if I can lead, but I can't have peace in my heart and in my world no matter what's happening. I wouldn't say I'm 100% all the time, but I figured out ways of where were the roots that were causing me not to have peace. What was the deep internal unrest? And then how do we come out to the other side of that? So if you feel like you've been hard on yourself as a mother, as a woman in this busy life, saying you can't handle everything, you can't do enough, just take a second to celebrate the wins that you have done and stop comparing yourself. Thinking you're failing, I'd say 90% of the time, comes from a false narrative in our head or from looking around to the left or to the right, to all the people around us, to what Susie Cakes down the street's doing. You are not failing. Your body's not the enemy. I know sometimes when you live with a chronic health issue, it feels like your body's failing you. But there's actually a peace that can come in any circumstance and in anything. So you are doing your best to survive in a world that never slows down. When as a mother, you were meant to slow down. As a woman, we weren't meant to run the same way men were. And that seems controversial in this day and age, but it's true. My husband can go and just skip food and not think about it. And if I don't have breakfast, I'm a hungry person. But we as women were made to support life. And so our role is look different, not in a, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I can't work a 9 to 5. My gosh, that is taxing. But my husband is like, he comes alive in it. And like, there are some things that I can do that I can work all day, 9 to 5, and I feel great. And I enjoy working, I really do. But I'm like, I've created this system that work is actually more important than my child sometimes. So I've had to reframe my mind of being like, no, she is the most important. This season of her life is so important. And so if that's a shift for you, if that's a hard shift, I totally get it. I completely understand. I would take an exciting adventure, something, a hard task, than to literally sit with my child for a nap. So as you see, my priorities were really messed up and I really had some things to work on, and we worked on them, but we're not 100% through. We're just working through it now. That I could do we've reframed my mind enough that I can see the value in it and I can feel it. I can be at peace for these things, but it is a hard shift. It's a hard reset. You're not failing. You as a mom, you're doing great. If your child doesn't sleep, my gosh, you are living in a different reality. When you don't sleep, you as a mom live differently. It's like we should just be awarded a congratulations every single morning you wake up and go through your whole day when you had broken sleep all night. Slowing your life down isn't a bad thing. It's not giving up. It's not becoming lazy. There's all these lies that are associated with it, and it's just not true. There's seasons of being slow and there's seasons of rest. So stay tuned for next week. We're going to talk about what it does to your health to live in this fight or flight state and how we see that play out in our generation in the culture at large. So see you next week.